Hey everyone, Brandon here. Wow. The last few weeks have been absolutely wild. And as many of you know, I closed off 2020, closing a chapter in my life, leaving my job at that all-news channel in Toronto, and started 2021 with a new chapter. That's where I started Gonez Media Inc. and started this production, The Brandon Gonez Show. And I can't tell you, I don't think I've ever been this happy in my career. And part of the reason for that is because all of you have showed your love and you've continued to show your support. And I know you have so many questions about what transpired in the past, but I don't think it's time to focus on that. I think it's time to focus on this. And we said it in our first promo video. This new show, The Brandon Gonez Show, it's not about me. It's about us. So let's get this started. This week on The Brandon Gonez Show, would you want to get paid to take the COVID-19 vaccine? Think about it, because we're going to talk about it. Plus, some teachers are saying students are finessing the virtual school system. And they're getting caught cheating. And one former employee's revenge plot gone too far. The details are disgusting. Oh, and we have Open and Honest, your voice, and some good news. The Brandon Gonez Show starts right now. Hey everyone, I'm your host, Brandon Gonez, and BG Squad, we say it all the time, we love you for watching. This is episode 1. All right, so you know how we do it. We're on YouTube, we need our checks, and we need your help. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and don't forget, hey, follow us on all of our socials so you never miss a beat. All right, done talk. It's time for news you can use. All right, we gotta ask you, should the government be paying people to take the COVID-19 vaccine? Really think about that for a second, because I think we should talk about it. Can we talk about it?
Let's do it.
No, can we talk about it? All right, let's get into it, because this is actually what one economist is proposing in order to really try to convince people to get vaccinated, to try to get a handle on this pandemic. In fact, it comes at a really interesting time because one survey recently found this. Take a look at your screen right now. Only 54% of Canadians are interested in getting a vaccine as soon as it's available to them.
What's the demographic of these 54%?
You know what? That's a great question, Dakota. And in this survey, it didn't really break that down. So it could potentially skew a little bit younger or a little bit older. But here's what we do know. Basically, looking at this survey, it means that nearly half of Canadians are saying this. They want to hold off. They want to wait a little bit longer to take the vaccine or to get the vaccine. And for some of them, it's because they have some big concerns, such as this. The fact that this is the fastest that a vaccine has ever been created and approved, or that we've seen people have an allergic reaction to some of the vaccines in the early days. And the last point is the fact that there's so much misinformation that's circulating out there. And if you don't believe me, go check your mom's WhatsApp. No shade to the moms. I love all the moms. I love my mom. We love the viewers.
Big up your mom. Big up your mom.
Big up your mom. But it's also important to remember this. The vaccines that have been approved here in Canada, they have been approved by Health Canada, meaning that they do meet the appropriate safety standard. And already we know that vaccinations are happening across this country. In fact, take a look, 400 million vaccines have been secured by the federal government. But here's the thing, the rollout has been slow. And we've been seeing this right across Canada, including here in Ontario, and some provinces are actually running out of the vaccine. Go look at BC, for example. In the meantime, though, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, he's really doing his best to try to reassure Canadians. Take a listen.
I want to be very clear. This does not impact our goal to have enough vaccines available by September for every Canadian who wants one.
But did you hear what he said at the end of that clip? He said, for every Canadian who wants one. So here's the question. What if not all Canadians want to get the vaccine? Which brings us back to our first question. Will that mean that the government may potentially look at paying people to get vaccinated? And if they did do that, another question that our team really started to talk about is, what are the potential problems that may come with that? For example, when you take a look at the income inequality that exists in our society. And why I bring that up is that if you're fortunate enough to be privileged in society, those things don't matter. Money doesn't matter. So the choice really is, do I get vaccinated or not? But if you don't have that privilege, then that choice isn't necessarily the same. So we want to hear from you. Would you accept money to get vaccinated? Hit us up in the comment section because we love when you guys chime off. For real. Listen, and as you're commenting, also don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Yeah, it's gonna get played out. I'm gonna tell you all the time because we need those numbers to go all the way up. And you have no excuses because you're at home. Stay at home order in effect in Ontario. Curfew in place in Quebec. No, and virtual school. Chris, hold it together. Cameraman, Chris, hold it together. Hold it together, Chris. All right, so students, we all know that they're back in school, back in virtual school, but here's the thing. No, they're getting caught doing something they shouldn't be doing, and that's cheating. Yeah, I'm not here to out anybody, I'm just here to report the facts. Because already, take a look at your screen, up. The University of Montreal is reporting a 40% increase in complaints when it comes to cheating. And when you think about it, if kids are in school virtually and they're isolated, it's actually kind of hard to monitor what's going on behind the screen.
Well,
and here's the thing.
Parents are busy working.
They are busy working. Yeah. And that's why I don't want to come down too hard. I don't think anybody should come down too hard on students because some of them are actually doing more than just learning. They might be taking care of younger siblings, for example, because maybe their parents are an essential worker and they're out at work basically getting some bread to put food on the table. But here's the thing, the complaints are coming from all across the country, including right here in Ontario. One teacher in Thornhill recently told this news outlet that cheating is happening all the time. I want to read out her quote to you. This is what she had to say. The very first test that we had, you could hear the cameras clicking. Come on. She also went on to say this. So they then smartened up and turned off the clicking sound, but you could still tell that the tests were all a group effort, end quote. So here's the thing. Apparently students, they're using apps called PhotoMath, or they're just going to Google to find the answers for things for their tests and their exams. It kind of brings me back to my day though, because we didn't have those things. And I'm not saying that I'm old. I'm just saying when I caught people cheating in my classes and I never ratted them out, they were usually writing on their hands or they folded that little piece of paper and tried to put it under the paper. They were doing the most.
I'll tell you what, this is good though, because it's going to force schools to find a new way to evaluate kids. Because standardized tests is not it right now.
Exactly.
Oh, so basically you think there should be other ways to grade students, Chris?
Definitely.
Okay, that's not bad. But I do want to show you this clip because this is what one student recently told this news outlet in terms of why more students are cheating. Take a listen.
Students in this semester in these circumstances are kind of looking for shortcuts basically in their studies because like I said, it's easy for our studies when we do them online to take a back seat to everything else that's going on in the world.
So again, we're not here to judge, we're just here to present the stories and to present the facts. So I'd love to know, what are the long-term effects on students? And if you are a student and you have been encountering this, how do you feel about that? Let us know in the comment section. All right, I do want to talk about this next story because when we found this out, our entire team was literally, I don't think there's a word to describe it, but we've all been in this position where you leave a job and then potentially you might want to get revenge on your coworkers or your old boss. Don't judge. It's not that deep.
You trying to tell us something?
No. I'm not trying to tell. It's not that deep. Mans don't know how to swim. We live in the shallow end. So don't even read into it. We live in the shallow end, okay? But I do want to ask you, have you ever left a job and wanted to get revenge on your former boss or your coworkers? I want to take you across the border to Buffalo because there was this former Border Patrol agent who's actually being charged after allegedly spraying urine throughout his supervisor's cubicle.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Listen to this. His name is Eduardo Flores Jr., and he's been charged with destruction of property, according to a criminal complaint filed in federal court. And in fact, that complaint goes on to say that the former border agent did not hold back against his former boss. In fact, the man was spraying up the entire building. He sprayed up the desk, the chair, the keyboard, his clothes, the books, and even personal items like picture frames.
Must have drank a lot of water.
This was deep. This was deep. But I don't know what this former border agent went through on a day-to-day. We all don't know. We don't know what he was subject to in terms of treatment from his colleagues and his former boss. We also don't know what he saw day-to-day. We do know the stories that we've heard that was happening under Trump's administration with border agents and what was happening at the border. Could that have played a factor? Potentially. But at the same time, this former border agent woke up that morning and chose violence. To the point that, according to this report, the smell was so strong that it lingered for an entire week. And it's no joke, because of that moment of satisfaction for this former border agent, allegedly, my gosh, lawyers, my goodness, allegedly, okay, he hasn't been found guilty in court just yet. He's now facing serious charges, though, and potential jail time and a potential $100,000 fine. And he has no job. Oh, I forgot to add this. That's not no young guy. He's 50 years old.
Wow.
Ready for retirement. So, I don't usually like to put my input on stories. But sometimes, if I'm gonna just drop a bit of wisdom on you, or if you just want to hear a bit of my advice, sometimes the best revenge you can give an old boss is to hit them with a massive glow up.
Facts.
Because listen, at the end of the day, you always want to be the one looking back at your past. You don't want your past looking back at you. You hear what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So here's your last question. Have you ever made a bold exit from a job? Have you ever left your mark? Let us know in the comments section. And listen, we don't judge here, because we know the BG Squad gets messy, but don't worry. We like to bring a mop, so make it drop. That's your news you can use for the week. Up next, Open and Honest. BG Squad, this is Open and Honest, and every week on the Brandon Gonez Show, we're going to use this segment to really dive deeper on certain issues and topics that are really of interest to you. And listen, sometimes we may have the newsmakers or the change makers of the week. We may even have a celebrity guest. But before we get into all of that, we should probably dive deeper a little bit into who I am. How did I get here? How did this journey begin? And I can tell you this, it all began at Seneca. So let's take a look down memory lane.
Well, he was a student in a summer course I taught at Seneca College in 2014 or 15. And it was a 14-week course in broadcast journalism, and he had come as a graduate of York University.
Head on down here to Taste of the Danforth. I'm Brandon Gonez, sending it back to the desk. Opa! Opa!
He just hit me with the energy he has. It's, I always say, the two key things a journalist needs are curiosity and an interest in people. And I can't teach those things. We've had Brandon back to the campus, and he's really an inspiration for the students. We knew he had talent. He was a real find, and he had a great future ahead of him. And the fact he went out to a small town in northern British Columbia, Smithers, BC, to start his career, says a lot about the man.
Brandon in 2014, a young boy right out of broadcast school back in Ontario.
The hardest thing I've ever did in my life, but it was the most rewarding. It was the most rewarding. Thank you so much. You're welcome. For CFTK TV News and Terrace, I'm Brandon Gonez.
So we were looking at a number of demos from various applicants for the job, and Brandon's jumped out for a few reasons. First of all, his presence on television. In the video that he gave me, he was reporting on a dispute. I think it involved maybe Brandon City Council. But anyway, in the video, he walks over to the door, tries to open it, it's locked, and then he turns to the camera and says,
"We're locked out."
He presented it in a very concise manner, and I was really impressed by, like I said, his presence on camera, but also the way he was able to put that story together. And then after that, he went to Smithers, reported for, I guess, 2 months, and at the time, we had an opening back here in Terrace for a reporter here who would also be a backup anchor for a television newscast.
The stretch of Highway 16, about 60 kilometers east of Terrace.
So that's how he grew. That's how fast he grew.
Brandon is like the light in the room.
Oh, this is amazing.
You are awesome.
Can I try a spin?
Okay.
Oh, you got the spin in there.
So when he came in, actually, it was actually an office meeting, and he comes in and we had started talking, and I remember the first thing he said to me, which was, "Are you about that wine life?" And suddenly everything clicked, and we've been friends ever since. And I remember years ago, he told me he just wanted his own talk show.
I got good news for you, Whitney, and not just because it's Friday.
He just wanted a platform to do his own thing, and I never doubted him for a second, and I knew he was on to bigger and greater things. There's still not enough diversity in media, coast to coast. He's been able to be genuine with himself, and I think that's what really resonated with people.
I met Brandon in 2016. I was at my desk. It was at the end of the shift. We got this email. New VJ / weather specialist coming to the station from Regina, and I said the name, Brandon Gonez. So I didn't know who he was at the time, but I just remember everybody started coming up to me, and they're like, "Oh, there's another guy coming. His name's Brandon too." And obviously they wouldn't allude to the fact that he was black, but I know they're kind of implying it as well. And there's just like, there's this kind of notion that they're trying to say like, oh, they're trying to replace you. But the thing for me, why I was excited was number one, just having another black person at the station.
My broadcasting career started back at Seneca College, where I studied it. Seneca was a really special place in my life, and it occupies a very special time in my history because I had left a career as a teacher to take a left turn into journalism, and it seemed at the time that the program being offered at Seneca was the perfect fit. I first heard the name Brandon Gonez before I actually met him and worked with him. And I had not seen him do his work yet, but it didn't take long once he actually did hit the airwaves. He just blew me away. He was magnetic. He was refreshing.
Oh, okay. And we got a score. Congratulations.
The word really, truly is authentic because you felt his warmth and his energy and his genuine interest in you. When you are a person of color sharing a story, and specifically if you are a Black Canadian, there really had to be, and I think we're just at the beginning of it, this real understanding that whose stories get told are far more important than ever before. And just as important is who is telling that story. And I hope that discussion continues to happen in newsrooms. And I'm really proud for Brandon for very boldly facing it in his own unique way. And he's just so darn cute and irresistible. So obviously I became a part of Team Brandon very early.
Wow. Woo! What a trip down memory lane. Now you know me. That's me. It's crazy. Listen, I just want to thank all of my friends for joining in on that segment and to really provide all those memories. That was really, really cool. And more importantly, thank you, Seneca, for seeing the vision. That's why I always say, I'm Seneca proud. All right, now you know about me. It's time for me to know more about you. Up next, your voice. Hey BG Squad, on our first edition of Your Voice, we wanted to check out one of Toronto's most notorious neighborhoods. You've probably heard of it, Jane and Finch. And yeah, it's no secret there's a certain perception of this community, but what does that actually mean to people who live here? Let's find out. You gotta tell me, which neighborhood are you from?
Jane and Finch, yo, right over here at Palisades.
When you think Jane and Finch, what do you think about your hood? What does that mean to you?
Well, geographically where we are right now, with the exception of maybe like Jamestown, this is the most diverse neighborhood in Canada, so we're literally in the center of the world.
I'm coming from India where people socialize a lot, so this is one place where we like to see the vibe of it.
That's so amazing. How long have you lived here in Jane and Finch?
8 months. It's
only 8 months?
Only 8 months, yeah. So I'm a newbie in Canada itself, so this is my first winter, as you can see. So yeah.
When I tell people like I'm from this area, I say it proud because like I think it's such a big place in Toronto where a lot of people come from, but they just don't talk about it, right?
We got educators, journalists, you know, artists, different people doing different things. So that's something that people don't necessarily see, you know, on a regular, and it's not documented and showcased.
What is that stigma that is perceived about Jane and Finch, and how does it make you feel?
People associated with poverty, murder, crime, you know, destitute, but you know, and while those things are true, and I'm not going to say they don't exist here, they also exist everywhere.
Sometimes it makes me feel ashamed, but then I have to remind myself that this is what made me me. Whenever I meet people that are not from this area, they're like, oh, you're from Jane and Finch, you're from Jane and Shepherd. Like, aren't you scared to like walk out at night? I'm like, no, it's just a regular neighborhood, if anything. Just like any neighborhood in Toronto. It has its ups and downs, but it has actual, like, in my opinion, like working class here.
I wouldn't say something bad about this neighborhood per se. According to my personal experience, yeah. I love the beef noodles from that place. And then you have Popeyes. That's one of the best burgers I've ever had in my life. I shit you not, India is like one of the shittiest burgers. Please cut that.
You know, usually when news cameras are around, it's because of something negative. If you're gonna watch CP24 and that's where you're gonna get information from about the community, it's gonna be limited because they're not interested in documenting those stories.
How would you like to see Jane and Finch defined? What would you want it to be known for if you could change the narrative?
Creativity, resilience. Like I said, it's the microcosm of the world. Everybody is here coming from different experiences and stuff like that and walks of life. So there's just a lot of lived experiences and knowledge that people carry and that they walk with.
When I ask you where you from, where you from?
I'm from Jane and Finch.
Jane and Finch.
Hey.
Jane and Finch.
Jane and Finch, yo, Palisades all day, you don't know.
Hey. We just want to big up all the people here at Jane and Finch for opening up to us. And know this, we'll be back. All right, we made it to good news, and you guys know I love good news because we're living in a time where there's a lot of negativity out there. So we want to put a smile on your face, and this next video, trust me, is going to have you smiling from here to here. Take a look.
Oh my God.
Wasn't he good? That man was hitting them beats. DK, can you hit those beats?
I can hit those beats.
Okay, Chris, can you hit those beats? Oh, cameraman Chris, stiff. Stiff what, stiff what? No, I'm joking. I'm not joking now. Listen, we want to thank you guys for watching our show. I can't believe we've hit the end of the first episode already. I also want to remind you this, if you have any stories whatsoever, any pitches, any good news stories, hit us up, news@BrandonGonezShow.com. We really mean it when we say this show is not about me, it's about us. So as we come to a close, whatever you're drinking, whether it's water, whether it's Henny, put your glasses up right now and let's do a cheers together, because this is just the beginning of something that's going to be massive. We love you for watching. We'll see you next week.